Welcome to your safe space, the podcast your partner, friends, parents, whoever thinks it's dirty. Don't have time to read books? Want to understand all the jokes in the TikToks? We got you, fam. We're the Spice Traders, and we deal in spicy books. I'm Katie, and I need it to make sense.
I'm Liz, and I'm hypercritical.
Before we get to today's episode, we want to encourage you to check out our Patreon, where we publish extra episodes every other week, as well as ad-free versions of our regular feed episodes. Also, any series we read past the first book, all that coverage is Patreon only, so think series like ACOTAR, Fourth Wing, Guild. Anyway, we really appreciate the support and encouragement to continue doing something we love and sharing it with you.
Thanks in advance for checking that out. As always, we start this episode with 3 things. First is a generic trigger warning. You can find specific triggers for this book in our show notes, so please check those out. We also use foul language and talk a lot about sex. If you have sensitivity to either of those things, our podcast probably isn't for you.
Second, our episodes talk about books, the whole book, nothing but the book, so help me goddess. If you don't want something spoiled, don't listen to this episode.
And finally, we acknowledge that a good book can hit you at the wrong time. Our views discussed in our episodes are our opinion, and we don't want to diminish the work or the talents of the authors in our community. That said, we have some notes.
So, girl, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about A Dark Vampire Curse by Nikki St. Crowe. This was published in 2021, and I do feel like we never say this. It's a one-shot, which is excellent. I don't remember the last time I read a one-shot, honestly. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, it might have been the Christmas series that we did in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
I'm jumping the gun on looking at I'm super all over the place. So it is a one shot, which is great. This book is 224 pages long, and that's a shorty, which is also great because we rarely get to say that. So it filled a lot of things that I think were wanted by us. Give me one shot, give me a shorty.
Would you say it filled a lot of our holes?
Well, no, though, I wouldn't, because I needed more hole filling.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If I'm being honest here. So that's what we're reading. I will say I hate this title. I hate it so much. My notes literally start with A Vampire Dark Curse or some shit. It's like how I titled my notes. It's just not a great title, but it tells you what we're getting into.
Yeah, it does what it says on the cover. It does feel a lot like when Tolkien named it Mount Doom, and he was definitely going to go back and name it something cooler and didn't.
That's the vibe I got too, where I'm like, you know what? Yeah. It's okay. It's okay, Nikki, but
it's fine.
Why not just call it a vampire curse? Why does it have to be dark? A curse is dark inherently. No one has a happy curse, okay?
Unless
like I just don't need it.
Gold.
White? I just didn't need it. Anywho, there are 2 covers. I don't know if you saw the other one. The cover I had is just the title, a lot of filigree, and like a red gemstone pendant necklace, which comes back around. And I was okay with that cover. The other cover I hate a lot.
Yeah, the other cover can miss me with that.
It's just a dude's face, and he's not particularly attractive.
No. Well, he looks
old.
Squishy? No, squishy is not the right word. He just looks like
unwashed.
Like a chode. He just looks like not somebody that I want to be a billionaire vampire trying to seduce me.
No, and like the way that our male main character is described is like, I mean, he's a vampire. Obviously, it's in the title. We know who it is. The vampire should be so drop dead sexy, and like this guy is just like I wouldn't notice this dude on the street.
Yeah, I mean maybe he is, but I mean maybe he's just drop dead sexy for some people, but for me he kind of looks like a lot of the fuckboys that I like fooled around with in college. So
yeah. Anyway, the filigree cover is great. I like that. Give it to me all day. It's great. Get your face off my books.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you know how we feel about the real people on book covers thing. Like, just don't.
Exactly. Just by default, I don't like it. I only like it when it's maybe like from behind and I don't see a face.
Yeah, exactly. Don't prime the pump. Okay.
Right. Because I'm glad I didn't see that, because I would have just seen that guy and it would have killed the mood for me. But anyway, let's get into it. Katie, kick us off.
Okay, so this is on Kindle Unlimited, which is great. And because it is a one shot, and probably because it's a shorty, there's like no fuss, and we just jump right into the story. So I don't have like a playlist or a trigger warning or like a dedication. It's just book. I appreciate that.
I do. It's also refreshing. That hits another refreshing thing. Not necessarily holes being filled. I'm going to withhold that. But it's nice. It's nice not to have a lot of like fluff in the front. I like the fluff when it's warranted. In this book, if she had given me a map, I would have been like,
I don't need it.
Miss St. Crowe, get out of here.
However much time you spent on that map, you should have spent on a different smut scene. Just saying.
Okay, thanks.
So anyway, we start with Emery Blake, and we immediately are told that she can read minds and has always been able to do so for as long as she can remember. She's with her boss, a man named Tanner, and they're on their way to force a meeting with a billionaire named Reese Roman. Emery is Tanner's executive assistant, and she gives us a little bit of a glimpse into what his mind reading is actually like, and it's pretty fuckboy.jpegs, and for some reason, he's not into her. I don't quite understand how that works, but he goes so far as to think in his own mind that he used to think that she was hot, even though he wasn't into her. But now she's let herself go since her ex-boyfriend broke up with her. Cool. I will say this ex-boyfriend thing, essentially, like, she thought things were going pretty well. His name was Michael, and she liked him because he didn't really have interesting thoughts. Like, his thoughts were pretty sedate and predictable, but then one day he just up and decided that he didn't want to be with her for some reason. And we don't go back to this at all, but I have questions about like why that happened. Like, I feel like this is huge spoilers for the end of the book, but this episode's not going to be this long, but like her aunt and cousin may have had something to do with that.
Yeah, I had that suspicion too. I do wish we went back to it. I'm of two minds. Another refreshing thing about this book that we don't get a lot is that her backstory, at least this backstory we have right now of like she was just dumped, it's pretty like not traumatic. Like, getting dumped sucks, but I appreciate that she wasn't like put in child fight club, for example.
And also buried in the ground.
Yeah, or like pimped out and assaulted. Like, she just had a shitty... Actually, he seemed like a fine boyfriend until he left her. And that was refreshing. Now, she has a lot of other like baggage going on that we'll find out later. But I did wonder if her aunt and cousin had something to do with it. Because she can read minds. And the way she describes it, like you said, is just one day his thought was like, man, I really need to break up with Emery. But there was no leading up to that, which is
right.
Weird. It was like he was brainwashed by someone.
Exactly. Like the thought was planted in his brain by somebody else. But I also like that she had this predictable backstory, or not predictable, but like maybe the word I'm looking for is like relatable backstory, because like he breaks up with her and then she can't afford to live in the apartment that they're living in alone, like on one income. And so she's got to like move into her cousin's place, which is some shoebox apartment in not a good part of town. And so like her motivations for going to seal this deal with Reese Roman with Tanner is that she wants Tanner to give her a raise.
So that she can move out of the shithole apartment. Because she doesn't particularly like her cousin either. Like, that'll come up later. It's just not great. But it's so relatable and realistic. And I appreciated having an FMC that had just regular trauma.
I know. Just like everyday... I'm not trying to minimize it by that, but it's like...
No.
Like, you brought up child fight club. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious all the time, guys.
It doesn't. I was reading... Eventually I'll write a book, but I have this like Pinterest list of like, here's trauma you can give your character, and a lot of it is just like they missed out on an opportunity, like they lost their job. Like, it doesn't have to be you should be in therapy kind of trauma. It can just be like sometimes shit doesn't work out and your life has to change a little.
Sometimes life does the life thing and it's not personal.
It just do be doing that.
It just be doing
I'm
that.
saying that so much right now.
It'd just be doing that. Sometimes you don't think it'd be like a do, but it is. Anyway, so they're going to force this meeting, but it's not like they're going to like where Reese's offices are. No, it's in the late evening, and they're going to a club because Tanner's heard that Reese is there and he's just hoping to bump into him and then kind of forcing a meeting to talk about developing a strip of land that Reese has owned for forever and basically refuses to sell for anybody for reasons that nobody seems to know. Good plan.
Great plan. I don't know if this is in your notes later, but it doesn't spoil anything now that Reese actually owns this club. And I just bring that up because Tanner's intel is just that like he happens to be there that night. But I'm like, you're doing shit research if you don't know that he owns the club. Like, bro, that can't be that hard to find out. Because Reese says himself, he's like, well, I own it. So like, it's not a secret.
Or it's not a secret to Reese, but he's also very like I don't put this in my notes because this book is not that deep, but he's like one of those secretive billionaires, right? So like nobody knows very much about him. Like Emery goes on to say, like, even in her internal monologue, that she's not even sure what he looks like because he's like that secretive. So I could see that like maybe he owns a shell company that owns a shell company that owns the shell company that is based in a different country that owns the club. And then he just says that kind of like out of pocket thing like, oh, I own it. So yeah, of course I'm here. And it's like, okay, how many businesses do you own? Like, are you at the Chick-fil-A that you also own, or like what's going on?
That's a good point. And that's when you brought up in our debrief that I don't know if it'll make it in, but this is billed as a billionaire vampire romance, but we don't get a lot of the billionaire other than the fact that he owns things.
Right. And that's why it feels so out of pocket.
Yeah. And that's why I think that's what made me question it, because he's just so open about it that I was like, Tanner, did you do any research? I know Emery has, because she says like, I can't find pictures of him, but I'm just like, my guy.
Yeah. And like, so I will say up front that like, I really wish that we got more of the billionaire romance, or just don't bill it as a billionaire romance, because like, I've read several, and we talked about bringing in more billionaire romances to our feed because it's like ostentatious wealth and like in your face, like, let me solve this problem, or like, look at how many businesses I own and like, this is my club, blah, blah. And we just don't get that here. It's just like, money is not a problem in this book. Fine. But if you're a billionaire, I expect you to buy my lady like a dress made out of diamonds.
Yeah, I want to see the wealth like oozing out of your pores.
Right. I want to live the fantasy that money literally is no object.
Yeah. So that'll be coming to you in the future because I need that.
I need that in my life too. So this book is told from third person limited, and we switch back and forth between Emery and Reese. And so now we get a ye old perspective shift from Emery to Reese. So Reese is at the club, and one of his guys brings him back into one of the back rooms where one of his vampires, like one of the men that he's turned into a vampire, has killed a bunch of other dudes. And it turns out he was playing poker and they accused him of cheating. And so he just lost it and killed them all. Cool. And Reese is like, I really don't need this. And he feels like he's losing his cool because there's a lot of blood. And usually that doesn't affect him, but it's affecting him more than usual. And he's trying not to show it to his men because he suspects that this is due to the curse working its magic on him. And so we learn this curse is something that will affect everybody that he's turned into a vampire and will eventually turn all of them mad, including him. He tells us, quote, before he was turned, Reese had been a prince, the son of a mad king, and now he was about to go mad himself. How fucking poetic. I don't know why we needed that either.
Right. I was like, you were a prince? Like, okay. I will say, I do like both the characters. I like Emery and I like Reese. And I'm glad we get both of their perspectives.
And they have great chemistry, I gotta say.
Off the bat, it's so good.
Yeah. But if you tell me, okay, just sorry, I can't, because if you tell me somebody's a prince, I'm like, how did that go? Like,
because you're
did
immortal.
You fake your own death? Like, did your brother take over? Like, what happened? Are you still the king there?
Yeah, and like they just don't know that it's you. Like, have you been pretending to be your own children for centuries? Yeah. I didn't need to know that.
Yeah.
I didn't need to know that. You could just say my father was mad.
Right.
Before I was turned.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So as he's leaving the room, after instructing his men to deal with the dead bodies, he's drawn up short by an oracle sent by Ciri, the queen of oracles. This oracle tells him that the key to breaking his curse are T.S. Jensen and the girl. Reese is familiar with the company, but doesn't know what the hell the girl means until he runs directly into somebody in the hallway, and that person turns out to be Emery. So we get back to Emery, and it turns out that she and Tanner have split up in the hopes of finding Reese, and she was going to the back rooms to look for him and bumps physically into him, but doesn't realize it at first. Reese is immediately enthralled by Emery, and he can't contain his bloodlust from starting to show in his glowing blue eyes. And Emery's like, whoa, this guy is acting super weird. Let me just try to read his mind. But it's like a blank wall. She can't get any signal. So he corrals her against the wall, and it feels like they're going to get steamy. But then Tanner interrupts, and Emery's like, okay, cool. And she can hear his thoughts, and he's a little concerned for her safety. And she's like, oh, I was so distracted. Should I be concerned for my safety? This is a little bit weird and sudden.
Like, maybe Tanner's right. Like, this is a big dude, and I'm alone in this like corridor.
Like, this does look bad on paper. I will grant you that.
I will grant you that. Thanks, Tanner.
But when this dude steps into the light, everyone realizes that it's Reese Roman, bom, 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 and he agrees to take a meeting with Tanner and now Emery solely because he's so infatuated with Emery. And because an oracle just told him that the key to breaking his curse is because of Tanner and some girl. By the way, Tanner's last name is Jensen. And so he's like, well, it's my lucky break. So they get into a VIP room, and Tanner asks about the piece of land. And Reese immediately says no. No, thank you. Not for sale.
Hard pass.
He says specifically, quote, do you think you have something that I need that you can offer me? Do you think that you're somehow special? You're not. I've had this conversation with 36 men who've come before you, and all of those men failed just as you will. Cool. And like,
you
so
have
the billionaire
nothing I want.
thing starts off strong here, and then like that's just it. That's all we get.
Yeah, it never comes back around. Even when we see Reese's house eventually, like, I mean, this book is very short, but like, I couldn't tell you what his house looks like.
And it doesn't matter, frankly. Like,
No.
You can illustrate a billionaire romance in so many other ways, but it's just not.
It's just not there. Even with like his vampire friend killing everyone, even then money doesn't come up. He's just like, can you get what's his face in here to like get rid of the bodies?
Right. And like,
he's
I
not
think
like
maybe
send
one of
money
his-
to the families.
He's like, I don't care about any of these guys. But I think one of his other like more sober guys is like, it's going to be expensive. And he's like, pish posh, applesauce, just do it. Fine. Like I said, starts off strong, and then we just focus on other things, I'll say.
Yeah.
So anyway, Emery tries to step into this failing meeting and asks if there's anything that could change Reese's mind. And he tells her he'll consider the offer if she gives him a tour of the offices the following day. Tanner says that they can absolutely do that, and Reese clarifies that he wants just Emery to give him a tour because he doesn't like Tanner.
I do love that he just says that straight to his face. Like, I don't like you. You're not invited.
Right. To your own offices in your own tour. It's fine.
Goodbye.
So we switch back to Reese's perspective as he leaves the room with Emery and Tanner, and he feels basically out of control because of whatever effect Emery has on him. He doesn't believe in coincidences, and he knows that she must be the girl, quote unquote, that the oracle was talking about, but he just doesn't know how she fits into being the key to breaking his curse. So he goes back to his mansion where he meets with some of his men and a witch, who is also his employee named Kat. And Kat confirms that the curse is indeed starting to affect the younger vampires and that he's running out of time to fucking fix this situation.
Whoops.
Oopsie. So Reese tells them about the interaction he had with the Oracle and Tanner and Emery. And he tells him that he could have sworn that he smelled Ravenwood witch on Emery, but it was very faint. And this is when we learn that the Ravenwood witches are the ones that cursed him many, many years ago. So we go back to Emery, and she goes home, and we see an interaction with her and her cousin Beth and her aunt, Nina. We can hear their thoughts, but it's very run-of-the-mill, and it's clear that they both pity her because they see her as kind of like a failure to launch type. So Emery cuts this interaction short, goes into her room, and calls her friend Morgan to help her pick out an outfit for the next day, and tells her the improbable events of the night, including the billionaire Reese Roman.
We don't really see a lot of Morgan. I'm not sure we see her ever again after this, but I'm glad she has a friend, even for a moment.
Yeah, I am too. I think she calls Morgan maybe once more, but yeah, it's felt like a very natural injection into a very short story for her to just have like somebody in her life that she could talk to, and she's not totally alone.
And I appreciated that because it would have been so easy to just leave that whole thing out.
Right. So the next day, Emery is at work and she's jittery the entire time waiting for Reese to show up for their tour. But he doesn't even call until just after sunset. And so she's kind of like, all right, jackass. Like, he's like, oh, I'll be right there. Sorry. And she's like, okay.
I've already been here for 8 hours.
All right. Like, I've been working this whole time. What the fuck have you been doing?
I would have left. I'd be like, we can make a new appointment. Goodbye.
Peace. Like, you could have told me a time, whatever. But when he arrives, she feels the same immediate attraction like she did in the hallway at the club, and she can barely think straight with him there. So they start the tour in the basement. Reese is particularly interested in a section of wall that seems to have been bricked up. He's been in the basement before, but he shares that when he was there, like, that bricked part wasn't there, and so he's like, that's odd, right? And she's like, oh, weird. So the tour continues. Reese doesn't see anything that could give him more information about breaking his curse, and so they go back to the main floor. And it's there that the phone rings, and Emery has to run to grab it. Reese knows that her running away from him is going to trigger his desire to chase her, but he doesn't really bother holding himself back. So as she runs away from him, he uses his super speed to chase her and pin her against the wall on the far side of the room, but he stops short of biting her. He just tells her that he's going to let her go, but she needs to walk away slowly and leave everything just as it is and just leave. So she does that, and when she's in the elevators, she starts freaking the fuck out about what just happened.
Which was a very healthy response. Like, I'm here for the immediate attraction. I'm here for all of that. I'm here for the chase scene. But I also appreciate the realistic response of, like, I'm in danger and I need to go.
Yeah. Just like a bucket of cold water. Like, no. In hindsight, I am in danger. Yes.
Yep. Gotta go.
But I will say the scene was very hot. Like, in terms of tension building.
It was so hot.
So good.
Because we know she's not in danger. I just want them to fuck.
Yeah. I just want them to kiss.
The kiss, please.
Kiss. So after this interaction, Reese leaves and goes on a drinking spree, but is careful not to kill any of his victims. He drinks himself into a stupor, and he doesn't wake up until the following night when he and his crew break into T.S. Jensen, the building, and look in the basement that he was just on a tour with Emery on. But it turns out when they get there, Emery is working late too. She's still trying to make sense of what happened the night before and has even talked through it with Morgan to a certain extent. But she ends up chalking it up to an overactive imagination. But when she opens up the elevator doors and Reese is standing on the other side, she panics. She's like, fuck, maybe this wasn't my imagination.
Nope.
So Reese kind of takes her hostage because he tells her that she needs to cooperate and that he's not going to hurt her. And she knows that he could, so she kind of goes along with it. But she's very chill about the whole situation.
She is, okay, like, last night you were a little worried for yourself. I need you to be a little more chalant here. Because she's just like, okay, adventure to the basement. Whatever.
And she, like, comes out, or, like, I don't remember the specific course of events, but he's, like, there with one other vampire dude and the witch cat. And they've, like, incapacitated one of the security guards. And she's just like, okay, this is cool. I'm like, girl.
Her sense of danger lasted for 2 pages, and now it's gone.
Yeah. So they all go down to the basement to look at the spot that's been bricked up. On the way, they tell Emery a little bit more about the fact that they are vampires and that witches exist and that Reese is at least 500 years old. And we also learned that mythical beings are supposed to have originated from a place called Alias, which is run by a demon king, and that nobody's been able to get there in many millennia because there hasn't been a traveler. And, like, she has negative amounts of follow-up questions.
Okay, and, like, again, this book is 220 pages, but they're super chill about, like, we'll just tell her we're vampires. Like,
I don't get
and
it. What's the big deal?
She just takes it in stride. She's like, cool, vampires, check. Witches, check. Demon king, check. Okay, so here's the basement.
Right. And when I say she doesn't have follow-up questions, I don't mean that she's not engaging in the conversation, because she is asking follow-up questions about witches and about, like, where they come from and stuff like that. But it's not like, how have you kept this a secret for all this time? How am I just finding this out? Like, what the fuck? How does the secrecy work if there's so many of you?
Yeah, how many people die every day in my city?
Right. She's just taking it at face value and like, oh yeah, so this is a new thing of my world. And she does say like, oh man, this is like something I didn't realize before. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
You seem very chill about it.
She's, I have no idea how I would react, but she is just so chill.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, I feel like I would be like, I fucking knew it.
Be like, I called it. I've been reading about you for years.
Right. So they get to this spot in the basement, and Reese and this other vampire dude uses their super strength to break down the wall. And as soon as they start getting a hole in the wall, they can see an eerie light emanating from within. There's some kind of magical force that prevents the vampires from going inside, so Emery goes in to retrieve whatever the thing is that's floating in this eerie light. Once she gets inside, she can't really hear the voices of the other people so much. It's like they're muffled because of this magical barrier. And it's almost like she's enthralled by the thing that's in front of her. And this thing looks like a necklace, so she reaches out to grab it, but she feels a shockwave of power go through her body when she does so, and the necklace imprints itself on her sternum before she passes out.
Which is terrifying to me. And she also doesn't really worry about this.
No. She does not think twice about just going into this hole in the wall with the eerie light. She's like, yeah, whatever. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, it's a great plan. Goodbye.
So outside, Reese sees all of this happen, but vampires still can't get across the threshold. And so they use one of the human guards who's been thralled to like go in and bring Emery back physically. And this whole time Reese is like freaking out, and like this vampire and the witch that is with him are like, why do you care, dude? Like, it's just a girl. Like, hit her with your car. Like, what? And he doesn't give them a good answer. He just, when Emery gets to the other side, takes Emery back to his house so they can take care of her there.
It's just this whole scene is wild. Everything, a lot of things in this book are wild. Emery has no concerns about like her own well-being. They just share their whole secrets with her. It's just so odd.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not asking for a lot. It's just kind of comical, like, to think about it through a critical lens of like,
yeah,
if this was really happening.
Like, I'm not mad about it, again, to be clear, but like, it's just so strange.
Yeah. So when Emery wakes up, she's in the same room with Reese and hears his thoughts, but she responds to them out loud. So Reese immediately knows that she can read his mind. But we learn that vampires and other magical creatures can like shield or learn to shield their minds, which is why she didn't initially hear anything from him or any of the other people that he was with the night before, which tells Emery that there are more people around like her. She's not unique.
Which is nice.
This knowledge, plus the events of the night, make Emery want to drink. She's like, I've learned a lot. I need to unwind. So they go down to the main room of the house, and she's introduced to the rest of the household, which is basically a bunch of nameless and faceless vampires who immediately get the fuck out because Reese is like, beat it. Cool.
He's the king.
He's the king. So the only people left behind are Dane, who was the vampire from the night before, and the witch Cat. So Dane makes Emery a gin and tonic while Reese speaks privately with Cat. When they're alone, Dane tells Emery about the curse and how Reese thinks that she's got something to do with breaking it. But we don't really get more in depth than that. We then switch to the conversation between Reese and Kat, who seem to have an idea of what Emery is and why she can read minds, but they don't share that with the class yet, so we're just kind of left wondering.
I thought she was just one of the Ravenswood witches.
I did too. I was like, it's got to be like, you have to fall in love with your enemy or something, and she's just, that's why he smelled it on her for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that.
Nope.
Not that.
Turns out not that.
So Kat suggests to Reese that he take Emery to the last veil because at this point he's got nothing left to lose. And so he's like, yeah, you're right. That sounds like a great plan.
He's already told her all his other secrets. Like,
It might as well. I mean, you could break this girl's neck if you wanted to, so it's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. She's not a danger.
So it turns out that the last veil is on that piece of property that Rhys didn't want to sell to anybody or develop ever. And the reason that he didn't want to get rid of it and wanted to protect it was because it's forest land, but what's magically concealed within it are the ruins of a colonial town. We learned that this was the town that Rhys settled in when he arrived in the New World all of those years ago, and he shared it with the Ravenwood witches. He says that this town sits on ley lines, which are basically like magical lines of power within the earth, and he fought with the Ravenwood witches over who should have control over them. He leads Emery up to a hill that overlooks the town, and on this hill there's a huge mansion that's covered in a wet black film, and he tells her that this is his old house and this is where the curse originated from.
Gross.
So fucking gross.
It's so gross.
Also, I just thought it was so eerie the way that they like walked into this town, and she describes it as like people, it looks like people left overnight, like they were just there, even though things are covered in dust and like grime.
Yeah, it's really eerie, and that it's all like shielded and protected from all sides. You just think it's some like woods or a coast or whatever, but there's a whole town here.
Yeah, because it's like so Rhys and the Ravenwood witches lived there, but there were also just regular people there too.
Mortals, mere mortals.
And other things, as we'll learn. So they go inside the house and they go to where the heart of the curse is, which turns out to be the dining room. And when they get there, they see a floating ball of energy, which is the origination point of the curse. And Rhys is testing what the oracle said, whether Emery has anything to do with breaking the curse or not. And so when they get there, this pulsing orb of energy reacts to Emery's presence, and it connects with her physically and makes her float and glow. The surge of energy pushes backward and makes her lose consciousness as well as Rhys. But Emery ends up waking up first. And when she does, she feels fine and the ball of energy is gone.
She feels great.
She feels great. Yeah, exactly. And she wakes up Rhys and he feels great too, because remember, he was kind of feeling edgy from the curse itself as well. So they take that as a victory, that somehow she was able to clear the curse without doing a goddamn thing, because the black goo is also gone from the house completely.
I just feel like a couple follow-up questions could have been warranted.
Well, I love that this was Kat's suggestion to go to the last veil, and she didn't think to come along with, like, she's the only trained witch in them, like in their posse, and it's like, she's ultimately the one that confirms what happened here. And I'm like, you could have learned that sooner.
Well, and it does make me wonder, like, did she know already?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Me either.
But plausible, right? Because, like, she figures out what happens pretty quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
But in the meantime, before we know what happened, they go back to Rhys's house and they party and celebrate. There's dancing and a little bit of drinking, and eventually Rhys and Emery get close to canoodling. And so he takes her back to his private study where they can get intimate. As they make out, Rhys says, quote, "From the moment I first laid eyes on you, I've been unable to think of anything else. I've danced with madness. I've gone to the edge just to feel the thrill of it, but no woman has ever made me feel so delirious with need." And so they have sex, and he also bites her and drinks from her, and it's a great scene.
It's a great scene. Nope. My only note is that I wish we had more of them.
Yeah, and you said, I think, in our debrief that it was a little short. I think it is a little short, but it is a 200-page book, so I feel like it was appropriate. It didn't feel rushed, I'll say.
No, it didn't feel rushed. And there is, like, I think in my memory, I was like, well, there wasn't a lot of buildup, but I think it's because we kind of, it jumps around and not in a bad way.
Yeah, and the first, like, half, I don't remember when this takes place, but it's either a half or 2/3 of the book is really build up, like, the foreplay for the scene.
Exactly. And so it was fine. Like, it needed to happen. If it didn't happen at this party, I would have been real mad. But the scene was good. Nikki St. Crowe can write some good smut.
Yeah, I mean, she does the Peter Pan novels retelling that we have been reading. So yeah, we know she can write good smut.
Yep. And it is good. And we get the vampire bite, which always does it for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So they finish the scene in Reese's room and they fall asleep.
I just want to say, I did think it was really cute when they're falling asleep, because Emery's like wiped out from orgasms, and Reese is like, okay girl, listen, if you wake up before me, do not open the blinds. And she's like, why? And he's like, because I will burn to ash. And she's like, cool, and just goes to sleep. And it just made me giggle. Like, good note, you got a lot of trust there in her. Okay.
Just like, you don't have a lock on your curtains?
Dude, right? Or like hurricane shutters?
Also, I forget how you phrased it, but you just said she's exhausted from orgasms or something. Just losing it.
I already forgot what I said, but I'm glad you liked it.
I mean, you're not wrong. That is what happened.
It is what happened.
Anyway. So unfortunately, in the morning, Emery wakes up and she feels like shit. She has chills, like she has a fever, and her stomach is cramping so bad that she has to run to the bathroom and throw up. Reese runs in, and when he sees what's happened, he's horrified because what she's thrown up is the black sludge that, like, what used to cover his house.
Gross.
Yeah. Later, when Kat examines her, she gives the devastating news that, quote, it seems as though she didn't end the curse. She just transferred it. It's now growing inside of her.
But again, I feel like Kat knew that. I don't know. She's pretty nonchalant about it too.
I mean, look, I get it, because one of the main through lines in here is that, like, Reese shouldn't give a fuck about this person, but he does, and nobody knows why, and everybody keeps asking him, and he won't give an answer until the end when he gives an answer, which we all know is coming. But, like, Kat very pointedly at some point earlier in the book asked, like, why do you care? Like, you shouldn't care. She's just a girl. Like, it's fine. And so I could seriously see a case for her knowing what would happen and sending him to do it anyway.
Yeah, and just thinking that he won't care. And it's cured. Right, great. Then you could just kill her and the curse is gone. Who cares?
Because her loyalties are with Reese and his, like, enclave of vampires.
Yeah. Like, when I say that I think Kat knew, I don't think it was malicious, right? Like, I don't think she was doing it to hurt Reese. She just doesn't give two shits about Emery because she doesn't need to.
Right. I mean, the argument that another character will make later is, like, one life for the life of many, like the greater good. I don't understand what is so difficult about that.
Yeah, what's the problem here?
Yeah. So Reese determines to go see Ciri, the Queen of the Oracles, to understand what can be done. When he's granted an audience, she questions why Reese cares about Emery at all, like we were just talking about. She tells him, quote, you wanted to end the curse, and you ended it. She's just one girl, disposable, really. But Reese doesn't like the way she's talking about Emery and asks how he can fix Emery. All Ciri tells him is, quote, the curse is in her blood. Drain her of blood and the curse will die. Which, when she said this, I was like immediately like, okay, so just turn her into a vampire. Easy game. Done.
That's what I was thinking. Then you could still keep her forever and the curse is gone. What's the problem?
Yeah, but he doesn't see it like that. So I feel like maybe turning somebody into a vampire, you have to do something different here or whatever. But he's like, well, that's not going to happen.
Like, she'll die and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So when Reese gets back to his house, he pulls Kat away from Emery's bedside and speaks with her privately in his study. Emery doesn't like that and so strains her power to see if she can eavesdrop on them, like from afar, and she's successful. She hears Reese say that Emery is a demon and that the reason she was able to transfer the curse was because the Ravenwood witches used a demon to bind the original curse. And to do that, they stripped Emery's family of their demon marks so they could go essentially under the radar, not being, like, presented as demons, I guess.
Like, she doesn't know that she and her family are demons?
Yeah.
Seems like kind of a big deal, but okay.
I also have questions about, like, besides the demon mark and the mind reading, like, what else do demons do? Like, do they
have magic?
Are they servants of hell? Like, you're just going to throw a demon out there. It's fine.
I know. That's where, like, if this book was longer and if I cared more, they would be big problems for me, but
in this context, they're just not.
I just don't care. I care,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take away from the story.
No, not at all. So then Reese says the part about draining Emery of all her blood, and that's Emery's cue to get the fuck out of there. So she leaves the house and goes into the city, and she finds a woman who lends her her phone because she doesn't have literally anything on her. And she calls her cousin, Beth, and Beth comes to pick Emery up and take her home. Emery's so relieved to be in safety that she falls asleep in the car. Don't fall asleep in the car. Even as she was doing that, I was like, this is bad. This is bad news. She can't do
You're
that.
still in danger.
You're still in danger. You don't know Beth. She's kind of a cunt. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So back with Reese, and it doesn't take long for him to realize that Emery is gone. Dane comes in and tells Reese that he has more information about the people Emery was living with and that her cousin Beth is a Ravenwood witch.
Oops.
They determine pretty quickly that Emery is in deep shit and that they have to do something about it, so they go to Emery and Beth's apartment to look for both of them. But of course, when they get there, no one is home.
Typical.
Emery wakes up and realizes that she's strapped to a table of some kind in a cave. And her aunt and...
Why are there caves? Okay.
Why are they? Even having finished this book, I'm confused as to where the cave was. Like, it is in the Last Veil somewhere, but I couldn't tell you
But
where.
like, and why does it need to be a cave? It's fine.
You
I
could
was
just be in the
confused by that
basement.
too.
It's fine.
Yeah, you could just be in your apartment. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, her aunt and Beth are both there, and they tell her to not be afraid. Emery doesn't understand what's going on at first, but then she puts it together about the Wood family being the Ravenwood witches and everything that she's learned about the curse, and she correctly intuits that she's not actually related to these people at all, and they've been fooling her entire life.
What a twist.
They say, bravo, that's exactly why we needed to kill your mom.
That reveal was so cold. Like, yep, and that's why you're an orphan.
Because we
Sorry.
did that to you.
You're welcome.
So rude. Just like,
It's so rude. That was rude.
that was really fucking rude. So back to Reese. He has Kat perform a locator spell on Emery, and she does this using some hair that they found in her apartment, and they realize that Emery is in the Last Veil, and they're like, okay, what?
Why?
We cut back to Emery, and Emery's aunt tells her, aunt/fake aunt, that their curse is something that the ancestors put on Reese, and it was meant to weaken him so that they could kill him, but it's been dragging on for too long and they can't kill him. So they needed to find a way to break the curse entirely, and they thought that they would be stuck in this predicament for much longer, but then Emery broke the seal on the curse, and that enabled them to act and potentially kill Reese and all of his vampires once and for all. I didn't really follow what was going on here. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't either, and I did read it twice, and I just accepted it. I was like,
Okay.
sure, okay. They're all
That's
in
not what we're here
danger.
for.
That's all I need to know, I guess.
Yeah, something about needing Emery to break the curse and it taking too long. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
anyway,
matter.
They're here now. They have to kill Emery to do that.
Which is also weird because,
reasons.
like, draining her blood would have fixed the curse anyway. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really know. But
Unclear.
anyway, they have to kill Emery. So her aunt slits both of Emery's wrists to let the blood with the curse start to seep out of her. Cool.
It's dark, man.
It's pretty dark. Speaking of dark things that I don't really understand why we did this, but we go back to Reese and he asks Kat, really commands her to link his and Emery's life forces together.
That seemed like a choice. Because we don't learn a lot about how the vampires work here, but in other vampire books, I feel like if the daddy vamp dies, all of the other vampires die, and isn't that what he's trying to avoid?
Yeah, well, but beyond that, like, is it permanent? Like,
Can you undo that? What if you guys break up?
and so the impression that I got reading it, and I'm literally just having this thought now, I thought that he was doing that because once they got in there, he's like, oh, she's an easy target. They'll kill her. rather than getting to me, and I want her to live. And that's why I thought that he was doing it. But if he knew that she was already dying, maybe he wanted to give her like more life. I don't know. I'm thinking about this too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really understand that. I think it was just an added layer of stress. I don't think it was really needed. And honestly, it didn't even click in my head. I was like, I'm just going to drive right by that because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so we'll do the same thing. We're just going to drive right by that and go to the next exit. So they go into the cavern where Emery's being held hostage. And this is just as an oracle appears and tells the witches gathered, quote, "Death will come for some of you tonight." And I'm like, so helpful.
Also, just some of you? Like, which of us? Also, in this room or like our families, some of you?
Yeah, that just seemed like such a bitch oracle to deliver. Just like, some death will be here for some of you tonight.
Goodbye.
Bye. Then Rhys and his vampires attack and they kill a bunch of witches. So that immediately fulfills that prophecy. Cool.
Why did we need it then?
So then Emery's aunt threatens that she'll cave in the entire place if the vampires don't stop slaughtering them. And that gives Rhys and his compadres pause. Then Aunt Nita tells Rhys that he knows Emery must die in order to break the curse, and she lies saying that it's affecting them too, and she just wants to be out of the cycle. But based on the information that we got earlier that I don't fully understand, Emery has enough consciousness to tell Rhys that they're lying to him and that they want to kill him as well, not just break the curse.
Obviously, they want all of the vampires dead.
Right. So in response to that, Emery's aunt makes the floor give out and like creates a hole that Emery and the rest of the vampires literally fall into, but none of the witches do for some reason.
Just very specific holes under specific people. I pictured the floor like Swiss cheese.
Yeah. Oh. That's way funnier.
I know.
So Rhys manages to get over to Emery and makes her drink his blood so that she can get some of her energy back. They look up and they realize the witches are doing another spell, and then it feels damp for some reason in the cave, and I'm like, it's a cave?
That was my thought. I was like, aren't caves already damp? Inherently.
But Kat realizes that they're making the blood and the curse airborne so that the vampires will breathe in the curse and die.
Gross.
And what that actually means is that they'll breathe in the curse and be driven mad, which is what starts to happen to Rhys. So Emery has to dig in her well of demon magic that she's never used before and use that to force Rhys to not attack her through essentially like mind control, which works well enough for her to like talk him through fighting the bloodlust and coming back to himself. And this allows him to attack the witches and stop the spell. Cool. This was wild to read.
This was so wild. I almost wish we stayed on it a little bit longer because I had a couple more questions, but
I just don't know how we got from mind reading to mind control or persuasion, and I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, ooh, let's scratch that a little bit more.
Yeah, because it makes sense, and that gets into the question of like, okay, well then what can demons actually do?
Right.
Like if she can do this without ever knowing or practicing, what else could she do?
Exactly. So in the aftermath of this battle, the vampires bring Beth and Emery's aunt to Emery to be meted out their justice. But she doesn't kill either of them because that would be too easy. Emery knows that both of them are very proud of being Ravenwood witches, and so she very specifically uses her power to make Beth forget that she's a witch at all. And she's supposedly does something similar to her aunt, but she might have gone further because she says, quote, Emery pushed into Nina's mind and wiped it clean, which sounds to me like she lobotomized her.
Yeah, because it's the way it's kind of explained, which is not very detailed, but she makes Beth forget that she's a witch, but wipes everything from Nina's mind. So is she just a zombie now? Because that's what I pictured.
It kind of sounds like she's a drooling zombie, which woof.
Which that's some intense vengeance.
I mean, that's also like more vengeance on Beth than it is for Aunt then.
Yeah.
Because Beth has to take care of a drooling aunt now.
Exactly. Because she didn't forget the familial ties, just forgot that either of them had any power to begin with, which is wild.
Right. So we next see Emery at Rhys's mansion, and she's fitting in quite nicely. She's working for Rhys in developing the land that he no longer has to keep uninhabited for the last Vale. And she gets a lot of satisfaction out of having given her notice to Tanner. Rhys joins her, and it's very clear that they're about to canoodle, but we get a very cock-blocky fade to black for some reason.
I don't know why this was necessary for her to fade to black, and it made me so mad. And also, I had forgotten about Tanner until this moment. So I do like that we get, hey, BT dubs, I quit, because now I have a sugar daddy. But like, why are we doing the cock block, guys?
Can't we just spend like 2.5 more pages?
Because it's the end of the book. Like, just, I don't need a lot. I just need, 2.5 pages would be great.
Yeah. But that's not where the book ends. We do get an epilogue that shows us Ciri, the Queen of the Oracles, going to the ley lines that are now unblocked in the last Vale. And she uses those to open a portal to Alias. We learn that she is a traveler and has not been able to use her abilities because of the curse. When she opens this portal to Alias, the Demon King steps through. And I think that this one-shot is kind of like a prologue, because there is a series, I think it's 3 books long, about the Demon King. And so I think this is just like how he gets there, which might be a good series to read.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to reading it because I think we only have one more book of the Peter Pan series. And I really like Nikki St writing, and they're all very short, which is just amazing.
I love that.
So we'll pin that. Although she has released the Captain Hook Crocodile book, and I want that one to come first. It's on her website. Yeah. It's called like Devourer of Men or something.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Daddy. So that's where the book proper ends. But at the end of the book, there's a link to download a bonus chapter from Rhys's point of view, which is basically Rhys and Emery looking out over the work that they're doing in the last Vale. And there's like a little bit of a blowjob scene, but the rest of it is
half a blowjob scene.
Yeah. And like
doesn't
the
count.
rest of it is like they say, I love you. And like, this is really my only problem with this book is like, there's really only that one scene and then everything else is fade to black. And I'm like, why even tell me about it? Nikki, I know you can write some dirty, filthy blah, blah. And if you're going to put a bonus chapter, it better be the filthiest shit I've ever read.
Exactly. Because the Peter Pan books are like 220 pages and they are
chalked.
7 different sex scenes. Like, do not give me a bonus chapter that has half a blowjob scene. Get away from me with that. Do it or don't.
Fill my holes or don't. Just don't.
Fill my holes or don't.
I mean, I guess Nikki. Spoilers, but we should get into our ratings now.
Yeah, all right.
All right, girl, how do we rate The Spice?
We gave it a 3. I think it's very clear why. We only get one scene, and that scene is great, which makes it all the more frustrating that all the other scenes are fade to black. And I just, like we said, if you're gonna give me a bonus chapter, I want it to melt my eyeballs because it's so filthy. And like,
right.
the bonus chapter could have just been a chapter. So whatever. Her scene's great. And maybe if I didn't know what she could write, it might have been rated higher for being such a short book with one scene. But I know she can write more in short periods of time. So it's a 3.
It's really what she does well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Moving into writing style, we rated this a 4. And it's accessible. There's not typos or formatting issues. It's very easy to read, like very accessible. I don't feel like it was above and beyond. It was just like solid writing style, no notes.
Yeah, the characters are good. Nope. Yeah. No typos.
Oh, that's a good point we should talk about, because they do switch between the two point of views, the third person limited, and that can get a little dicey, and I was never confused about who was talking.
No, it was really clear for me, and I always appreciate that because that can get a little dicey.
Yeah. So moving into quality of storytelling, how'd we rate that?
We both gave that a 3. There are a lot of plot holes and questions, and she does commit one of the cardinal sins of giving me just too much information. Like, why is Rhys a prince? A prince of where? Is he still the prince? Is he the king? I didn't need to have those questions. There's demons. What are the demon powers? What happened to her family? There's a lot of plot holes. I also will say, and I kind of meant to say this at the end, where we get the epilogue of the I love you. The whole book builds up a lot of their sexual chemistry, and they have great chemistry. It doesn't really build up a relationship, though. So the epilogue to me was kind of like, I love you. Why?
That's a really good point.
Like, there's no emotions in the whole book. Like, it's all sexual, and now it's like, you want to be together forever. Cool, fine. I'm not mad about it. Your chemistry is there, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird choice, especially because, like, it's billed as a romance, right? So, like, I mean, maybe look, I'm conflating, or I'm not. I feel like the industry is conflating love with like romance, sex, right? I think of a romance book as being like smut, right? And it doesn't necessarily need to be the I love you, as long as they have good chemistry and like emotional intimacy. I feel like it was just, oh, we have to put a little bow on this and like let everybody know that they're like in it for the long term. And I'm like, she's a demon and he's a 5,000-year-old vampire. Like, is that necessary?
Right. I didn't need that, because you said the thing, emotional intimacy. I don't think we even get emotional intimacy. Like, they're both there for a reason, and like they work, and I'm not mad about it, but I didn't need the bow. I didn't need it. We don't get a wedding scene, but it's the same vibe as giving me a wedding scene. Like, also, what does it mean that she's a demon? Will she die before him? Is she also immortal? Like, that's a problem.
Yeah. Can she be turned into a vampire and then she's a demon and a vampire? Or if she's turned into a vampire, does she just become a vampire? Like, yeah, all of these questions, all to say, it's a 3 from us.
It's a 3.
But do we recommend this book? Yes, we do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Had a great time. Like,
had a great time. It's easy. It's vampy.
Great author. Like,
yeah,
love it. It's very bingeable. Like, I think I read this in like maybe a couple of hours. Like, very, very quick read.
I flew through it. I did not want to put it down.
Yeah.
And it's a nice intro. I mean, like, Nikki St. Crowe's books are all very approachable, but like, if someone didn't want to get into a series but want to check out an author, it's a good one. Like, hey, here's her writing, here's her style. You should also read the series that she does, because they're great.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So that's it. We did it. Those are our thoughts on A Dark Vampire Curse by Nikki St. Crowe. Thank you, as always, for joining us on this journey. What did you think? You can find us on the socials, on Instagram, YouTube, and Goodreads at Spice Traders Pod. And hey, if you like our podcast, you know that you can find more over on our Patreon, where we release Patreon exclusive episodes every other week. And if you really, really like us, drop us a review wherever you listen. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.